Okay.
All right. Welcome, guys, to episode 2
Welcome.
Yeah, we
of
did.
the
We
Can
survived
I Sit
it.
Here podcast. We're three
Yes.
strangers who met by chance.
Right
What a-
place,
what
right
a-
time.
What a lovely moment that
I
was.
know.
Three strangers met by chance.
Mm-hmm.
We just kept the conversation going the whole day and into the yonder.
It's
We
just an
explore-
extension of that one day.
We're exploring writing and creativity and all the messy things in between that make us human.
Love
so
it.
welcome.
Thank
Episode 2, guys. I'm very excited. Episode 1 is a thing, but
I
episode
know.
2,
you. I know.
it's a thing.
We
Yeah.
survived it.
We
Yeah,
did.
we
I
survived
wasn't
it.
sure we were gonna.
Mhm.
Yeah, so much
It was
backlash,
really
so much.
long.
No, I'm just kidding.
That was a day. I was exhausted.
Yeah,
Towards the
yeah.
end, and I had to go back and mother my children. I was like,
Oh,
oh, my
gosh.
God, my brain.
Yeah.
my brain.
We learn. We live and we learn.
It's all good, though. It was fun.
Yeah, mothering your children sounds fun.
It is fun. They're great kids. I love
sure.
them deeply.
But exhausting as well.
It was. It is.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. So, guys, here we are. Another Sunday at the end of a
Yes.
weekend.
Yes,
How's
yes,
everybody's
yes.
weekend?
It's
It was
good.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the beach last week, which is fun.
What's your beach?
That is
I don't.
a great
I
question.
don't. I
by
don't
the
go
way.
What
enough
is
to
your
have a
beach?
beach, but we went to Asbury Park,
Okay.
which my wife and her parents went to a good amount when they were younger, so I feel like that was familiar for her.
You've adopted that beach.
Yes, I think it's my third
Beach by
time
marriage.
maybe going there. Yeah,
by
exactly. We own the beach now. Yeah, I feel. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I do. It's fun. I'm not a big beach person, but
Oh.
I found more things I think this time to do. Like I was more. I don't know. I felt more like, yeah, okay, this was a good vacation. Versus most of the time, I'm like, okay, like I did the beach. I'm ready to go home. Like it's day 2, and I'm like, I don't know.
I hate it here.
What do we
Yeah,
do now?
yeah. I'm
Get me
so
out of
bad at
here.
vacationing. That's probably the problem. Is like I don't.
Ah.
I feel like I'm pretty good at figuring out in my home space what I want to do, and then on my vacation, I'm like, I don't know where I am. I don't know what unless we have a plan. I just feel like I'm kind of lost.
Maybe you should talk to someone.
Maybe no. Well,
I know someone you could talk to.
I feel it's I don't know. It's like I don't usually feel like that itch that people feel where they're just like I gotta get out of here. I gotta go into the beach. I gotta go. Like I'm usually like if I'm off from like working, I'm like, oh, that's a great vacation for me. Just being off.
Just being off.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It's but are you able to like calm down? Like, are you
Yeah.
able to
Oh,
settle?
yeah.
You are
Big time.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. I
It's
do
just
like
not
going
necessarily
away.
at the beach, is what you're
Yeah.
telling me. I got you.
Yeah, and I can do I do enjoy kind of getting away every now and then, but I think it's less frequent than most. Most people, I think it's like I got to get away as much as I can from.
Yeah,
So you're
yeah.
happy
This
to
world.
sit in your home
Yeah.
and do nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I understand
I
that.
can get
I
that.
think
That's
because there's a
vacation.
lot of like I have a lot of what do you call it? Idle not idle activities. Solitary activities, I guess. That I like to do, whether it's writing or like playing video games or working on this podcast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I do that are kind of like, all right, I'm gonna go off my own and be at
Yeah.
do
home.
your thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes you
And
happy.
it probably, when you do go off to the beach, you don't have the time or the place to do the writing or
No.
to do
Right.
the
Yeah.
video gaming.
You are focused
or-
on
When
the
you get that large chunk
Yeah.
off, that tends to be when you're like, let's go do something.
Yeah.
Versus
nice,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh my god, I have so much writing to do, or I have so much like
So
other things. That,
behind.
yeah.
I can honestly and 100% safely say I'm the opposite.
Yeah, I can see that though.
I just the downtime is in this actually this is similar in the sense that the downtime is so like few and far between
Sure.
that when it's there I'm like put me on a beach and let me feel the sunlight enter my body.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's- Yes, I am fine doing nothing.
There's that. I like that moment though. That like 2-hour moment of feeling what you're saying.
Gotcha, and then you're over it.
I think then my brain starts going, now what do we do?
Oh,
And that's not. I mean, that's maybe it's a
now
good thing. That's a
we
bad
wait-
thing. But
we wait until 4 p.m., which is and when everybody starts to leave the beach and the sun starts to move a little, and then it's a whole other chapter of being
Yeah.
at the beach, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway,
We were
I get
actually
it.
at the beach as well.
yeah, that's right. How was the vacation?
It was wonderful.
Good.
Wonderful. But before I get into it, there is something that I feel like I need to bring up, which is the fact
Uh-oh.
that if you're from Philly and you went to the beach, you would say you're going to the shore.
Sure, yeah.
I'm going
Yeah,
down
yeah,
the
yeah,
shore.
yeah.
Right? Okay. When I started dating my husband, he is from Philly. He's from Delco. His family grew up going to Ocean City, Maryland.
Yes, I was just gonna say Maryland takes that shore right out of you. Go on.
yeah.
oh, really? They don't say shore.
They don't say
No,
shore.
they say
so
the
I
beach.
remember we started dating. He's like, all right, let's go to the beach. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to go to the shore. And deadpan was like, we're going to the beach. I was like,
But he knew
Oh.
what you were saying. It wasn't like
okay.
he was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"What is
Okay.
this?"
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's like,
totally,
we don't say
yes.
the shore. We say the beach. And I was like, I never thought about that until I went
I'd
to
say both, I guess. Yeah.
I went to school undergrad at Maryland, University of Maryland, and I went down there and we're going to the shore. I'm like, what's this beach everybody's talking about? What exactly is
The beach is at the shore.
Right. Right. So, but
Yeah,
between that time that I spent there and then living there, for the last however long, years and years, it really just kind of like going down the shore, like went away. Now that I'm back, I'm like, bring it back in.
Did you find that you were at the shore that you were able, like, see, this is what goes back to what I was saying earlier, is like, were you able to completely disconnect from all the stuff going on? And like, especially for me, like writing, like, were you able to just kind of be at the beach or be at the shore?
Well, that's a question for you, Diana, because you were just
right.
there for the
I
week.
was
But
I was just
Yeah.
there.
I was there for
Answer
a day.
for her.
I'll answer for you. Let me guess. I will say not last week, the week before, really good friends of mine rented a house for the week with their families, and I crashed their party for a day. And I just went for the day, and it's like 2 hours from here, but it was Rehoboth, Delaware, which is very much
nice.
the beach. It's
The
not the
beach.
shore.
Yeah.
You go to Wildwood, that's the
You're
shore.
at the shore.
Yeah,
And it's a
So,
vibe.
it's a total vibe.
Going to Jersey Shores, it's a vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Going to
Oh,
Ocean
yeah.
City, Maryland,
Totally
vibe.
different. Totally different.
Different.
Similar, but different in a lot of
Yes.
ways. Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you and on the beach?
it was great.
Mhm.
It was hot.
Yeah.
One of the hottest
Oh,
weekends
yeah.
we've had all year. I
Was
think
this
it
last week?
This was last
Yeah.
weekend. So
Yes,
it was like
very
102,
hot.
104 in Philly.
100,000.
Right, 100,000 down. Well, at the beach. I was gonna say down the shore again.
It's okay.
Down
We
at
know
the
what you
beach,
mean.
It was like, I don't know, in upper 80s. So still pretty darn hot, but we did so much. The kids had such a great time. We did beach, we
Yeah.
did pool, we did mini golf, we did all the ice creams. One of the places that we tend to go when we are down in Ocean City, Maryland, is we take a day or half a day and we go to a little town called Berlin, Maryland.
Oh.
Are you familiar?
I am
You're
familiar.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It is one of the like cutest hometowns or something in
It's from like a
America?
magazine.
That
Where
I
is that
don't know.
label?
I feel like I
But
have
that
read
sounds
that.
awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is very
yeah.
charming. Little shops and
Mhm.
things like that, bakeries. So we make a whole day out of it. And then we usually go down to the zoo in Salisbury.
Yep.
Because it's a free zoo and the kids love the animals.
cool.
And you kind of also need to be super creative in how to occupy children's time.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
So you probably had
There's
a lot.
only so much mini golf you can do.
there's only so much mini golf, and when it's really, really hot, you need to be indoors. But I also don't want you in front of a television all day
Yeah.
long.
How high?
But anyway, we had a great time. My in-laws were down for a couple of days. They're super
That's great.
helpful, and I got a lot of writing in, which I love.
Amazing.
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, the last time I promised that I was going to do what was the toughest when it came to the writing, which is writing in that before timeline, if
Yep.
you guys remember.
Yep.
And I got a lot accomplished. And as I thought, I had moments where, because I had to put myself in like a darker headspace, I had moments where I was like, I'm feeling like a little depressed. I was feeling genuinely down.
Wow.
And I needed to take a step back because I'm like, I'm with my family. I'm in a great, happy place. So I needed to disengage. But
that's huge what you just
Was
said,
there a
by the way.
relief to get at least that progress in your
oh my
writing?
gosh, so
even though
much, so much, because I mentioned in the previous episode, to write in that headspace, I need to mentally put myself in situations that are, again, Coralina's story. I have not lived her story, but I have experienced some sort of loss and sadness and desperation. And so to go back to those places, it takes effort.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I don't allow myself to live in that space
Right,
regularly,
right.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm certainly
Very
not going to do
protective.
that after working a full day and mothering and wifing and all that stuff. I'm not doing that at 11 o'clock at night.
Sure.
So yeah, it was a relief to be able to do the story justice and like really write from the heart.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was really happy and I was proud of myself. So
Were you able to share any, like, not necessarily like a specific scene, but like
Yeah.
what kind of, when you're talking about the progress of that part of your story, like what about that was either putting you in that state, or even just like, what about it did you feel proud of like getting accomplished?
So as far as the most successful aspect of the writing, I think comes from the fact that I have spent so much time writing in the present, writing in Coralina, who she is now. And one of the biggest missing pieces for me in my my progress is for the reader, am I doing her past justice? And I wasn't, because I wasn't living in the past long enough.
We hadn't been there yet.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So I needed to take the time to figure that out in order to continue even the present, which is what I think a lot of the readers are going to enjoy reading the most.
Yeah.
You know,
The present or the past?
the present,
Yes.
right? Because you want to know that she came out. She came out.
That's the progression
and
too.
how this is how she's progressing. This is how she's evolved as a human. You know,
That's cool though.
That's
That's
a
good.
really big deal to be
Yeah.
able to put yourself in there and take yourself out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I know. But tell me about your weekend, Sharon. What'd you do?
Oh, my weekend. Normally, I would be like, oh, well, didn't do much. This weekend, I did a lot.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
there was a lot happening this weekend, and I am very proud of myself for coming through on the other end and not falling asleep on as we record this. Because quick backstory: my dad is 90. He has Alzheimer's. It's not like in the end stages or late stages yet. He's sort of in the middle, forgets a lot of things, that kind of thing. We decided, I have 2 brothers, and I was up in New Jersey where he lives. My mom's traveling, so I went up to keep him company for a couple of days. We all had dinner together Friday night, but then Saturday we took my dad, who has so many stories, and the brain is so interesting because he cannot remember something you told him 30 seconds ago, but he will list off the 1949 roster of the Phillies like it was yesterday.
Amazing.
And so the things that he remembers from his childhood are like front and center and really vivid. And so we decided to take him on a little road trip down to Millville, New Jersey, which is where he grew up. And so we all went down. We left very early in the morning, which is like the middle of the night for my dad, because at his age, he sleeps quite a bit. He rallied, and we got in the car, and 2 cars, and we went down there. And then we came back here. This was all yesterday.
Oh my God.
We went down to visit my grandparents' grave sites, which are down there. And then we went into the town of Millville. We saw his first houses, and where my grandfather had who I never met. He died before I was born, but he had a butcher shop, and they had an apartment above the book. It was it's a state farm right now, but it's whatever. But it was cool to see. And
well, those look like kind of old houses.
Very old.
So
It did actually. It did. And so it was an amazing day. We came back. We went. We used to live in Cherry Hill. That's where I grew up, and my dad's favorite diner in Cherry Hill is Ponzio's. I don't know if you guys are familiar at all.
No, we'll have to road trip it.
70. It's
freaking
awesome.
Next episode.
And none of us had been there in years, and so we all went there for lunch, and it was a great day. And then my youngest brother Jonathan, coincidental. John took him back up to Jersey with him, and then pivoted to my sister-in-law coming because she and I went to the Dave Matthews Band concert
how
yesterday
was
in
it?
Camden.
Oh, okay.
It was an experience. I'd never been to the Freedom Mortgage Pavilion. And
oh my God. That place has been a million and one names.
I don't know. I remember it as the E Center.
If you had told me that you went to, what was it called now?
The Freedom Mortgage Pavilion.
I would have zero clue where that was.
Right. And it really will always be the E Center to me. I don't know why, but I'd never been there. Like, I knew it was there, but I never saw a show there. I've always go to the Man. That's like the place here. Or if I was in Maryland, there are similar types of venues.
Yeah.
And it was. I love Dave Matthews personally. Like I remember him from college. He's from Charlottesville, Virginia. He spent a lot of time in my area in Maryland, and I've seen him a gazillion times. Last night's set, honestly, didn't love it, but I was just so happy to be there.
Yeah.
And thankfully, the rain came through, and we didn't have to worry about getting rained on. We had lawn seats. We took the ferry over, which was an adventure in and of itself. It was just a lot of fun. We had a great time, and drank a little bit, which is something I don't do as much anymore.
Yeah.
So it was fun. We just, we danced, we had a good time. And then we made it back here, and we stopped at an Irish pub. We thought we'd get one more drink, and we walk in, and I'm like, when did they allow smoking again in bars?
Really?
Apparently they were smoking.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Bar.
Oh, yeah, you
I
can smoke
did
in.
not
Yeah.
realize that.
It depends on, I guess, the type of bar, but yeah,
It's a
most
thing?
bars, yeah.
I thought they were
most
just like trying to be under the radar about it, but no.
No, like I guess a dive bar, I feel like they don't care.
Oh my God. We were just like, and to think that like in my youth, I used to have this all around, and you go to sleep, you're smelling like smoke, whatever. Anyway,
You
So
go to a
that was really
restaurant, it used to be like that, honestly. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do remember those days, but then
Yeah.
then it was gone, and suddenly I could go to sleep and breathe. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's how we ended the night, and then she stayed over here and went home this morning, and here we are. And then I like pivot to podcast, and so it's been
Yeah.
a very busy but very fun weekend.
Good.
And thank you for asking.
So one thing I did not hear you talk about is where you are with your writing. Did you do any writing?
The writing.
Ugh.
You know, I think I overpromised last time
Mhm.
because, and I realized that even as I was working on it, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to get two done. I
Yeah.
did get one of my Substack, which I have yet to share with you guys, which I will. But I got one Substack post out and one, kind of note, which was like a little, like the Facebook feed type style thing.
Yeah.
So I did get one done. My goal was two, but I also this last one, which there's part of me that feels, my whole theme is really about like choosing yourself, being authentic,
Yeah.
being able to remember you in any relationship, whether it's you're single or with somebody, and going from there as opposed to worrying about everyone else and coming in. So for me, every topic that I'm writing on, I want to sort of connect back there.
Sure.
So this time, and I think I alluded to this last episode, is this our past article that I did was on curly hair. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Italy and I had a lot of friends, made a lot of friends there. And the woman, my friend Siri, who I was traveling with, asked me to help her coax her curls out of her straightish hair. She's used to like blowing it out straight, and she never liked how it looked curly. And this sounds like a very like mundane thing, but what happened was everyone on the trip saw Siri's hair when she did it curly, and I coached her like how to do it. And the ones that like had some wave to their hair were like, my hair never looks like that curly. I'm like, it could. And so suddenly I'm like talking to everybody, like teaching people how to do their hair curly, which was really interesting. And I think like last episode you asked me like what my favorite part of Puglia was, like when I went to my Italy trip. And after the fact, I'm like, this was actually one of my favorite parts. That like the joy that people saw when their hair did something that they only thought was like wild and frizzy and they couldn't handle. Anyway, so the post that I did was directed at that, and really how we kind of like hide something or we put something away that people don't necessarily understand or agree with because we don't know what to do with it, and we don't know how to like let the natural person or natural us come through. So that was the post that I did. It took me a while because there was a lot of iterations about like what message I really wanted to put through, and I feel like that is what was the most time consuming for me, which is why I feel like I did not get to the second one yet. It's in the works, but it's like definitely like I might have to sit with these sometimes. So the pacing is I'm figuring out. So did I post on Substack like I promised? Yes. Did I do two? No. But that's I don't fail.
Well,
it's all good.
No, I think that's part of the process too. Is like you put these assignments out, and even if you don't do exactly what you wanted to, it like does promote and it does provoke you to do that.
Yeah. And it helps me understand my own process also, because I'm thinking, I can just rattle these off, but I took a lot of time to sort of prune it down and edit and the voice and the message kind of shifted a little bit. So I'm learning about my process too. And I was remarkably not hard on myself for it, which I was pretty proud about. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the most freeing thing is like being able to be in the process and not expect like an A or like a grade for how you did and just do the process.
It's hard.
And that's
It's
hard
really
because again, it's like you don't want to waste your time.
Yeah, right.
So that's a big part of it too.
That's what it comes to. Yeah, that's a lot of it. And I just have to kind of go with the pace of it and allow for that. And it really does remove a weight also from your shoulders. So,
oh, I agree.
Yeah. How about you? How are you doing on your self-assignment that you did last
I mean, so from what I actually remember, my assignment was like I did dive back into what would be at this point chapter 4. But I also did a bit on the vacation, like just kind of walking down the boardwalk on my own, just kind of trying to like visualize. Like I listen to music a lot when I'm writing too, so just trying to like feel like what's the tone, what's the like beat and the rhythm of this. And I like found that like I was finding different voices from different bands or from different like songs. I'm like, that's the voice of the character that I need to come across. And I would listen to the lyrics. I'm like, yep, that's exactly like how they would say that and do that. So I found it very helpful to kind of just listen and write whether it was these one-off vignettes about the characters, or which I do a lot. I think it's very helpful is to write separate stories about your characters, just especially when you feel like you don't know them well enough. Because like if you can't figure out what they do in a moment, you can't figure out how they would respond to something. I feel like that sometimes means you need to like learn about them a little more.
That's right.
And so I did do that, and I found that was very helpful. And then I found ways that maybe I was going to incorporate that into the story too. So I feel like it fed back into what I was trying to do. But for the most part, the big task was trying to turn this chapter into first person, because this character, kind of just to sum it up, is in this prison cell, and they don't know why they're there. We don't know why they're there. It's a very abstract space. It's dark, and it's the first time in the story we really have a character like kind of expressing what the audience is feeling. Like we're in our own heads, being like, "All right, what the heck am I reading? What's going on?" And they're that voice. So making it in first person helped that a lot. And as I kind of navigated that, figuring out like, okay, like this character has to have a lot of character per se to it, because third person, it's kind of like me telling the story.
Yeah.
And now I'm diving back into first person. I have to kind of be like, okay, like how would the character say that? What are the quirks of how they would observe the world? And I found it interesting that to develop a dichotomy between like the expectations of someone I would say this age, really, because you're introduced as a child. I introduced them as a child, but like thinking about, okay, what do we expect a child to think and say and their perspective? And then what if I just kind of went complete 180 and, they're probably the most well-spoken character in the book. They're probably the most intelligent character in the book too. And I found so much joy from that to kind of show like the expectations we have on kids, and like the amount of respect we give like what they know and what they understand. So all the kind of older characters in this chapter kind of talk more, I don't want to say plainly, but they're more, stereotypically how I've been writing throughout the book, the characters' dialogue, versus this character is just like speaking at such a poetic way and using a lot of prose, and the way they think about things, you're like, what is this, like a 65-year-old like sage, like, but they're
so this narrative is coming from a child.
So this chapter is narrated essentially from the perspective of this child. So they don't speak at all in this chapter. I call them. We don't know whose child they are.
Oh, okay.
But they are clearly a younger character. I don't know if I specify, but they're like maybe 12, 11 years old, somewhere around there. So, and I describe them very much kind of like feeble and small. But so you got this picture in your head, but then when you're hearing them describe the scene and talk about in their headspace what's going on, you're kind of like, all right, this does not sound like a child. And so to me, that gets the interest of the chapter of who is this? Also, like, why are we speaking like this? Why are these thoughts so sophisticated? But yeah, I enjoyed that a lot, and it really inspired me to be like, all right, in every chapter, I want that feeling of like, wow, that's a very interesting thing this character brings. It's a very interesting thing that they
gives it more dimension.
Yeah,
right?
like why are we here with this character, right? This whole story is so big, so much stuff going on. Why am I here with this character? And like, especially for these introductions, which is for this character, it felt so good to kind of be like, whoa, all right, at least you now know why you're listening to this character. They're very different. They're very interesting. So
I have a burning question. I just have to get it out. What is the music that is?
Yes. So there's a character that I haven't talked about yet, Matrice, who is an older, she's probably like in her, she's like her, I haven't really figured out her age. She's between probably like 55 and like late 60s. And that's going to change like how I develop her. It'll change things. But again, everything is about like, I want these characters very different, come from very different worlds and very different backgrounds, and like just are different points in their lives. But I want to subvert expectations of what you think about when you think of a certain age or a certain. So her character, I'm trying to think about. I'm like, what's her voice? I was listening to Boy Genius a lot, which I do like to listen to a lot, and I just found that like, especially the album The Record, which is like their biggest album, is like, it just, every song I was listening to, I was like, yep, this is their voice. This is exactly how she would sound and what she would listen to. So I found it easier to write about her now. And like, there's sections in these chapters where there's blips into people's like childhood or their past that kind of open them, because it's a good like transition from who was this person, what is the core child in them, to what we're seeing in the chapter.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So to me, that opened that up, and I'm like, that's it. That's their voice. That's
now you
hiding
have a framework.
Yes,
Which is so cool.
and you have a rhythm, which to me, when you write, if you don't have like how the rhythm flows and how the beats work, I feel like you don't have a plot. It's like hard to operate with
That's amazing.
just still words to me. I need that like beat in the background. So yeah, for her chapter, I was able to write through that stuff. I haven't found what to do for this child character, this anonymous child character, like what the rhythm is. But for like the main, there's like I don't want to spoil it, but there's kind of an antagonist in the story who this wasn't music that influenced it, but I love a lot of Renaissance art, and that painting of Lucifer, I cannot remember. I think it's Fallen Angel, maybe.
Okay,
it's a very famous
sounds right.
painting of him.
We'll
where you like can just see his eyes.
I mean, he was.
Yeah,
Right? So,
yeah. But the imagery
guess
of
if
it
it's
was
not.
like so startling. Was so interesting
Seems
for
to
me.
track.
And then going from the imagery, I did some more research about him. I'm like, oh my god, like religious or not, I'm like from a storytelling standpoint, his story is so interesting to me.
Yeah.
So for my antagonist, I did a variation on his story, and it started developing like, okay, what is the void? That is the void a version of like a hell, a purgatory? Like I started getting those kind of connections of like, oh, like these are such big archetypes that we feature in our stories all the time, of like, you know, like the ultimate evil, the ultimate good, and all that stuff. So I it was so helpful to have these other things that I could like pull in and be like, how do they fit into that framework?
Awesome.
Question.
It's helpful as like for what you were going off of with like you were just like creating this headspace, creating this moment to go back in the past, which you can't just write on like a train or like just
No.
pass just randomly. Oh, I'm just gonna like sit down and write this. You have to like kind of orchestrate how, you know, the environment for that. I found that this was helpful too, because when I'm still, whether it's in my like home office or something in that same spot constantly, it's hard to get these kind of things moving. So like walking
Yeah, it's, like,
or
stagnant.
like
Yeah.
or like being on the beach or being in these different places, it like unlocks, I don't know what it is, it unlocks this new way to think of a character.
Yeah, I agree. And music can be so powerful.
Oh my.
Mhm.
I think it's more recently, actually, and I don't know if you have seen it, but on social media, a lot of the indie authors are establishing playlists for their books.
Really?
I have seen
Yeah.
this.
Have you seen
Yes,
that?
I have.
Yeah, where they
Huh.
will talk about their book, and on their pages or what have you, they will put a playlist, and sometimes even on in the beginning pages of the
Whoa.
book, they will put a
Oh, that's-
playlist of what you should be listening to while you're reading the book,
Isn't that
which is fantastic
Interesting.
for someone like me, because I mean, I think we talked about this before. I'm like a cinema reader. If
Sure.
I'm reading a book, I see
There's
it
a
play out in
soundtrack
my
in your
head.
mind.
You know,
What if the
which is-
song isn't what you were thinking? What if you listen and you go,
Well, it's the same
not
thing as
what I
what
was.
we were talking about last time about like the book to the movie. Like
Right.
if you know, what if the movie doesn't match what you saw in the book? Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that it becomes it's the same type of thing, I would think.
Oh yeah,
But it
Yeah.
is. It's like they are setting a vibe for the
Yeah.
and a tone literally for their story.
But it's really interesting to go back to your question.
Mhm.
I have definitely read books and then watched a series or a film and went, they should not have cast that person.
Oh yeah,
because
definitely.
it does change
Yes.
my experience,
Mhm.
because I'm seeing the story play out in one way, and now I'm watching it happen, and I'm like, that's not right.
Yep.
Well, that's
Like,
why I
that's-
think
yeah, it
it's
doesn't make
important
sense.
to have an actual adaptation. Like when you're a director or a writer and you're taking a piece that was not originally a movie or a TV show, you need to make you need to have your stance and your opinion on it and make that, instead of trying to be like, oh, people love the book so much, let me try my best to make like a faithful adaptation of that thing. I think like you always are going to run into problems if you're like, all right, page 2, all right, let's try to make it exactly like page 2, page
Right.
3.
And
You
it's
have to have your
impossible.
take on it.
It's yeah.
Because then
but-
people can suspend their belief and be like, I know that's not my so-and-so character, but I get what the take and I like
Mhm.
like it's a different take, but I like it.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Mhm.
like you are never going to win being like, I want it to be exactly what they're picturing.
Right. It has to be right. You have to leave that a little bit of leeway there. For
Yes.
The, for the
But I
reader.
think successful book to series, book to film adaptations always leave like the soul of the book
Sure.
intact,
Sure.
Sure.
right? If you're changing a fundamental piece of the story, you're going to make some people angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's a big thing. It's like, do you make it your own, or is that kind of a disservice to the author to like
Yeah.
do that?
That happened
know?
recently.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys remember that Wuthering Heights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Perfect
so
example.
perfect example. So the book obviously is one thing, and then there's been a bunch of different adaptations throughout the course of the years. But the most recent adaptation, I went to go see it back in February with
I saw it recently.
what's her name, Margot
Robbie?
Robbie.
She was
Yeah.
there. I was waiting for this friend. Like I went to go see it with. I'm
my
like,
I
friend.
thought
how
that's
would
what
I
you were
know who
saying
you?
too. I was like, oh, she's
Sorry,
talking
sorry,
about
sorry.
Margot Robbie. Yeah,
No,
okay.
we're not
Not
friends.
Yeah, not yet.
Yes,
Not yet.
being the operative word.
So she was in it, and what's the guy's name? I'm so
Jacob
bad with
Elordi.
actor names. Jacob
Oh yeah,
Elordi.
yep.
Yeah,
Elordi.
I'm surprised I remembered that one.
That was good.
So thank you for the kudos. Go on. Where did I pull that one from?
So I watched the movie,
Mhm.
and I knew about the book. I had never read the book, but I done enough research on the book that I knew. And I was like, okay, well, it's not going to be identical, but I mean, the fans were just upended by it. They're like,
Mhm.
this isn't accurate. Why would they do this? Why would do that? And I'm like, first off, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that the director even put the title in quotations.
Right.
Because
That's right.
it is,
That's
it
good.
is
That's
in quotations.
That's great.
You know, it is her.
I don't think I realized
interpretation
that.
of- Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
An
also think
homage
the
for
whole
the set.
accurate thing is funny because that you're hearing a lot of that with the Odyssey. Like right now with the Odyssey, everyone's like, I'm not everyone, but a lot of people saying I'm not going to see it because that's not how they would have spoken back then, and this is not accurate, and this is not accurate, this is not accurate. And
Okay,
it's
but
like,
if you've ever read the Odyssey, like it is tough.
It
to
is
get
tough. And
through.
this is,
It's
by the
also
way, this is
would
making
have been-
so much more sense to me why I keep seeing everywhere I go people reading the Odyssey.
the Odyssey.
I had no idea they were coming out with a movie.
so
And
Christopher
now
Nolan, yeah.
that makes so much more
Yeah.
sense because I'm like, you're 27. Why are you reading the Odyssey? Of
Well,
all
it's funny
things?
because it's like,
Like for fun. What's going on here?
yeah, well, I think it was like a Tom Holland interview or something. They were asking him these questions about like, oh, you say like dad instead of father, all these like this language stuff. It's like, why are you? And he's like, well, we're not speaking Greek either. So it's
Right.
like, and it's like, there's so many things you're changing that. And I think that's
Yeah.
part of the like you have to do your adaptation to me, and you have to commit to
Mhm.
it. And I just think people get hung up on the accuracies of things that a lot of times are fables or
Mhm.
are not, like especially superhero stuff you hear all the time. That's not accurate. I'm like the whole thing.
Right.
It's all made
Like,
up.
let's
So
reality check,
it's all
please.
made up.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is all made up. And that's the thing, like the adaptation. It's like
Yeah.
if we were doing it exactly the same, why do it?
exactly.
Yeah,
That's why I don't think people are actually mad at the adaptation part.
yeah.
Like I think they use it as an excuse. Like that's not accurate. I think they're just a lot of times they're mad because it's not done well, and they use it as an
There's a
excuse.
Sometimes
difference.
people are just mad because they're mad.
Because they're
That's
mad,
true.
right? It's true.
Well, you're seeing that more now too, because I find that there is no middle ground anymore. It's got to be the greatest thing ever made, or it's the worst thing ever made. There's not like this
That is
middle.
so
There's no
true.
nuance.
That's very interesting.
People have
Yeah, it's
been
very-
people today have been conditioned to like completely stand away from the possibility that sometimes things are just gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like and I don't know when that happened. I don't know
There's
when
a
we changed
power.
where like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
everything
Power.
needs to be black or
Right.
white. Like there is no gray. And I don't understand that because I mean I live in the gray a
Oh.
lot,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
I
Anyway.
think there's a
I
lot of
get that.
there's a lot of power that people take from being able to be a critic too,
Mhm.
because they're the internet and social
Yeah.
media has
Yeah.
made it so that everyone
Yeah.
can be a critic.
Mhm.
And I think that living in the gray, where's the interesting in that? And we're going to either tout it or we're going to completely bash it. And
I mean, are
it's-
there? I was going to say,
Yeah.
is there examples of that recently, or is there stuff you've been watching recently that fall more into the like
That's a great question.
gray? I guess. I don't know.
Arguably, yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I watch, I feel like, I know there's a lot out there that to me is just fine. Like I enjoyed it. It's not the
Mhm.
greatest thing
Yep.
ever, but
Mhm.
the thing that comes to mind is I suddenly have discovered Harlan Coben, which
Oh yeah.
and there
Lots
are
of adaptations on Netflix.
Netflix is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
teeming with Harlan. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it until I just watched.
I feel like he's got stock.
He's
He's got to.
got
Like
to.
he
But
has
man,
so
that-
much programming
That
on
dude
Oh,
Netflix.
can
yeah.
spin a yarn though. Like I had never read any of their books.
Rumpelstiltskin for sure.
Oh my lord, he's totally
for sure.
Good fable reference. Good.
Thanks.
good one, Diana. That
Thank
was
you. Thank you.
awesome.
I'm leaving now. Bye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think drop the mic moment for you.
I want to see that.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, but but seriously, I mean, I'm like riveted by it. And there was one that I watched a while back that I didn't realize was Harlan Coben until I watched this one recently called "I Will Find You." Have you guys heard of that one?
I will find. No.
"I Will Find You" it's based on a Harlan Coben book, and without getting too into it, it's basically about a father who's wrongfully accused of murdering his son,
Mm.
and he's in jail for 5 years, and then new evidence comes to light, and justice ensues. So but it was just a really riveting book, but a really riveting show, I should say. But to me, were there things that you had to suspend disbelief? Sure.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Was it the greatest thing I've ever seen? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it terrible? Far from it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's like that to me is entertaining. Like I don't need it to be amazing. You know,
Yeah.
there are people in my orbit
Yeah.
that are like, oh
Yes.
yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah.
What was terrible about it
Right.
exactly? You know?
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah,
that's an example of. But I also, you asked about, you know, is there an example of people being overly critical?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's just completely all over the place. I don't have a
Mhm.
specific example. But
No, I think that we are because we have so many voices and it's easy to get a voice out there. I think we have to be careful in that to promote making art and to promote people doing art, we have to have these, I don't want to say safe spaces, but yeah, I mean, just these areas where we feel like it's okay to make okay things and mediocre things and whatever. But you have to be, I think we have to be fair and say that like a lot of people put hard work into making a lot of these things. And you see all these
Mhm.
credits and all these people
Mhm.
involved. And it's like, you know, they spent their entire life, some of them, making these things.
Yeah.
And then when they're released
And they're
and someone
trash.
instantly goes, this is horrible.
yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, like let's take a breath.
that's
Yeah.
the
Maybe
power
it's
A lot of
I'm
just
people
talking
put a
about.
lot of
Maybe
work.
it's just not for you,
Yeah.
and you need to just be okay with that.
Because there is that slop out there. There's stuff that's just being pumped
Sure.
up, but there's a lot of stuff that's just like put a lot of hard work into that I think we need to like understand how we talk about it and not just discount immediately someone's like life
agree.
work, maybe.
Yeah.
But you know, and at the same token, like I think, you know, a lot of what we're expecting is because we have taken our time out of the thousands of things to watch this one thing. It does irritate
Right.
you when you feel like, oh great, now that hour was
It makes a
wasted.
good
and I
point.
could have been
Oh,
doing anything.
that happened
is
to me
very
recently with
true.
another
So, I
show
mean-
where I was into it, and then the last few episodes just were so like infuriatingly bad
Yeah.
that I was like, wow, I just. But as you said, like, you know, this is somebody's life works, and that
Yeah.
maybe not life's work, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like they put a lot of effort into
Yeah.
this, but to me, like the decisions that were made with the plot were so. And I don't know if this is an adaptation of a book, by the way.
Mhm.
It's called Unconditional.
I don't know that.
And it's on oh my god, and I'm like blanking on the exact plot, but I
That's
just
okay.
remember I was so mad at the end. I remember now. Oh my god, my brain. Get used to that. Anyhow,
You're still on concert time.
oh, I need more sleep,
Uh-huh.
I think. No, but it's actually an Israeli, just coincidentally, an Israeli show.
Yeah.
It's on Apple TV, I think.
Okay.
And
See, I don't
it's
have
about,
Apple. Yeah.
Me
it's
neither.
about, well,
Too rich for my blood.
I can't
There's too
not.
many things. There's so
It is
many
blended
things to do.
into other things by Apple. We can get into that discussion another time. But there are too many shows. Like my very favorite show of all time is on Apple, so we'll talk about that
Oh,
later.
okay. I
Hold
was
it,
gonna say
hold it.
Severance because everyone's favorite show, but
No, I could not get into
Oh.
Severance. I don't know.
okay, we'll
Anyway,
cut there.
We'll get there. Yeah.
kidding.
I was about to
too.
cut. I
I
was
was
like,
like,
wait, what?
okay.
Really? I mean, maybe.
I just know
you could
everyone
change-
says it's the greatest thing ever made.
maybe
I
you
haven't
could
watched
change
it.
my
though.
mind.
I
I know
haven't
my brother and his wife loved that show
Yeah.
so much, and yeah. So maybe one day I'll settle
Sure.
down and watch it. But regardless, Unconditional it's an Israeli show about a mother and a daughter who are taking a trip, and the daughter is arrested. They're both arrested
Yeah.
actually, leaving like on their way back home from a trip in India, I think they were. And she's arrested. The mom is like, what could she possibly have done? They said something about, you know, they found a joint in her bag or whatever. And she's like, not my daughter, no way. Turns out that there are more reasons than not that she was arrested, and the whole, like, everything sort of comes out. And it started out so great in the first, say 5.5 were amazing. And I was riveted. I was like, this is such a great show. And then it just went off the rails. Like it was so, and I was like, this is how they're going to end this show.
Oh.
It just felt like I've never experienced that so viscerally as I did with this particular show, and it just happened.
That's the sad thing about television is it can be a production issue. It could have been a
frustrating.
rush timeline. It could have been all these things that just
yes,
yeah.
and the storyline, as far-fetched as it was to begin with, I was okay with to a certain point, and then as a viewer, I was like, "Oh yeah, you lost me. Like I'm done now."
Yeah, you're like, I can't get behind it.
And
now.
and not only that, but I can't get that time back.
No, exactly.
And that's what made me think of it when you said that. I was like,
it's a big commitment
it's
when
a big commitment.
you have an author, a writer, director, whatever, somebody telling you, please hang in there. This is going to pay
Right,
off. And then you're like, oh, okay, no
Yeah,
payoff.
that didn't
Yeah.
pay off.
That's
So yeah,
tough.
it's super interesting. Super interesting.
There is something valuable about having the original author of the piece
Oh, God.
involved with the adaptation. Like I think of Gone Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's her name? Gillian Flynn? That was the author? I know her last name is Flynn. I think
Yeah.
her first name is Gillian. She wrote. I'm pretty sure she wrote the adaptation of
Oh, for the screenplay.
For the screenplay,
Yeah.
yes. So obviously that's going to be like out of the park because she wrote the
wrote the
original
thing,
book.
yeah.
That's like
You
Game
know?
of Thrones was like that. He was heavily involved. George R. R. Martin,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. More recently, there's this successful series on Prime called Off Campus. It's
I've seen a lot about that, and I
It's-
want to
yeah.
watch it.
it's been hugely successful with like the older millennial women,
Yeah.
myself included. I started watching it at like 6:30 at night on a Friday, and I watched that until like 2:00 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna get
Yeah.
you. I'll tell you, I've been seeing clips of that like on my
Mhm.
feed and whatever, and I'm like a little like sucked in already. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely got to be on my list. But
I-
and I'm
you-
not a
I
millennial woman.
No, and it's okay. It's okay. But it was truly written, I think, for that audience,
Uh-huh,
honestly.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know, and it's been incredibly well received, but I bring it up only because the showrunner, the co-showrunner, I guess, Louisa Levy is her name. She worked with the original author of the series because it's 4 books, I believe it is.
Okay.
So the first season follows book 1 and a little bit of 2, a little bit of 3, I think. But Kennedy, who is the author, she's also producer on the show. So when I talk about like the importance of keeping the soul of the story
Yeah.
intact, of course, like they had to trim and they had
Sure.
you know, congeal a couple of things here and there just to sort of make it work. Cause I think it's like 45 minutes or something. There was only 8 episodes, but it was so well done. And the music is so great. I'm still listening to the soundtrack. You know what? I just think they put drugs in it because I was just so obsessed
the
with this damn
soundtrack?
thing.
And it's so funny because
the series, and then, but yeah, also the soundtrack, and it
Yeah.
opened up my
Huh.
eyes to a lot of new artists that I
That's
mean, I don't like
amazing.
listen to the radio anymore. I listen
No.
to audiobooks. Like
Sure.
if I'm listening to the radio, I'm listening to songs that like I listened to in college. I'm just
Oh, I have
not
to
listening
curate.
to the
Yeah,
music
yeah, yeah.
anymore. So it really opened up my eyes to a lot of
It's
like
so
Yeah.
funny,
cool
and
anymore.
thank you for clearing that up because I
Yeah.
had made a mental note to see, is this an adaptation of a novel? And now
It's
I
a
know.
series, yeah.
And yeah, so I'm excited to actually
Okay.
put that on
Well,
my list.
I
Yeah.
would love to talk to you about
I
it when you're
am
done.
excited to do that as well. So yeah, stay
I
tuned.
recently finished Spider Noir, which is like if you've seen the Spider-Verse movies, the
I was going
animated
to say the new
films,
Spider-Man.
it's like a
movie,
live
yeah.
action.
Wait, pause.
yeah.
So is this like Venom? Because isn't Venom Spider Noir?
No. So Spider Noir is
Black Spider,
I
they
see why you
look
say
very
that.
similar. They
Okay,
have
I'm wrong. I'm
all
wrong.
black
That's cool.
suit, very similar.
Yeah.
But
Alright.
it's like another universe where their Spider-Man is this, at least in this story, is like an older, like kind of washed up
The multiverse
PI
as a
who's
whole.
like
yeah.
so happens to also be spider powers, but he's like a detective, he's a private investigator, he's like it's classic like noir, like he's doesn't like his job and he's barely surviving off of the clients he has or whatever, and a big crime story picks up and he gets involved, and it's really interesting show
Huh.
because
It's giving me Batman.
It's giving me Dick
it's
Tracy.
it's not like that picture. It is literally classic picture,
Does
like
anyone know who Dick Tracy
I
is?
do know who Dick Tracy is.
yeah.
Sharon's like,
oh,
anyone?
no.
Picture
Anyone?
like old black and white like noir films. It is.
Oh, that's funny.
It's like I would recommend it if you like. Well, it's not a superhero show, which I'm thinking the whole time.
Oh,
I hear
okay.
Spider-Man, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, here we go. It's
Yeah.
like 25% Spider-Man and like 75% just straight detective crime film. I mean,
Okay.
TV show, and it's really cool because it's super.
Where can you watch it on?
It's on Amazon.
All right.
yeah,
I
'cause
feel like my
Sony.
husband would like that. I
Yeah.
might have to recommend that.
I
to
thought it was
him.
great. It's Nick Cage. Nick Cage is being Nick Cage,
Wow.
and it is so fun and funny, and also serious. But like, it's really well done. It's not just like, well, let's get another Spider-Man Marvel
Yeah.
thing out there from the watch.
Cool. I'm
It's
gonna check
it's
that
its
out.
own
Thank you for that.
thing. But
I'm
yeah,
glad
that's
we're
what I
doing this
just finished.
podcast, so I'm getting all these recommendations.
No, it's fun. Yeah.
So, we talked a little bit about like adaptations, but what are your like go-to
Mhm.
shows? So, like maybe it's a show that you loved,
Sure.
or maybe it's like something you turn on when you want to go to sleep, just something that feels warm and cozy.
Yeah.
Do you guys have
Well, the
any
warm and
of-
cozy, I do. The Office is always my go-to. I know it's a lot of
Very
people's
warm and cozy.
go-tos,
Very warm and cozy.
Very warm. And
but
cozy.
I can watch it
It's like
for any
it's
reason.
to feel good. Yeah.
Yeah, and the writing, it's probably the best comedy writing I have ever experienced, TV, movie, whatever. It's just,
It really
it's
is great.
perfect. Especially,
Did you know that Mindy Kaling she has a new show? If it's giving
Running
me like
Point.
Office vibes,
Oh no.
I think it's called Not Suitable for Work.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I do know that. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I have
I have
not.
not
haven't
I have
seen
not
caught it.
watched it, but I have heard good things. So just
Yeah,
so
she
you know.
writes a lot for The Office too. So I mean, she was obviously
She
a
was
big
on
part of
it,
that
yeah.
writing staff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it's
She's
part of the
amazing.
reason why it was funny too.
Cool. So I'm sorry. So you were saying The Office. What else?
So The Office for that, and then 2 animated TV shows. So Attack on Titan, which to me is, I mean, I can't really say this because I don't watch enough anime to be like, this is the best one. It's one of the
It's
best
the best for you.
fiction I've ever experienced in my life.
Okay.
That's awesome.
It's probably the best written thing I have ever experienced in fiction. I mean, Game of Thrones is probably the close second as far as just from a writing standpoint. But yeah, Attack on Titan, I'm sure many people, anyone who's watched it, honestly, they all kind of say the same thing. But it's unbelievable twists that you would
Okay.
never expect. Genre changing twists where like you feel like you know what's going on and what's happening, and then like the whole story is like thrown away and started over again.
Oh,
And
wow.
now you have a whole new thing to wrap your head around, and you never get your feet on solid ground. It's constantly doing that until the very end, and it's very philosophical, and it's very timely for now with like what's going on in the world, and it's going to be timeless like for forever. And then another one is Avatar: The Last Airbender, which they did make another live action adaptation. So it's season 2 of an adaptation of the original show, which is not exactly that great,
Okay.
but that's
fine.
okay. I think it's a couple things that we mentioned earlier. The original authors, creators are not involved or left. Also, it's one of those maybe didn't need an adaptation, a live action adaptation.
Yeah.
Right.
But the original show is so great because it's for kids. It's funny, it's light, but then it's also very serious, and the characters are all well written. The finale is very like intense and just beautifully like done. And it's one of those rare things where it's like it works at a low level for somebody who's just wants the entertainment of it, but it works at a high level for someone who just wants to dig into the characters and be there for the story. So another great one. And I think it's those, like, for instance, like, I think those 3 shows, no matter what kind of viewer you are, whether you're like
Mhm.
anime or don't like the format of The Office or don't like kid shows, like, I think a lot of people can watch these, even if
That's
that's not
cool.
usually their genre.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
cool. That's like broad range.
Yeah, it just does
Yeah.
so much well. It's
That's
kind of hard
cool.
to not like something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sharon,
What
are
about
your
you? What about
go-tos?
you?
Oh boy. Okay, so I'll leave my guilty pleasure for the last one.
Sure.
That's like my go-to. Like if I need something on in the background, I might.
Yeah.
throw
You
this
don't
show
need
on.
guilt. See, that's another thing I always tell people. Like, guilty pleasure is such a weird. Just
Well,
you know,
what?
there's
You know why I
nothing-
say guilty pleasure? Because it's like nobody. I feel like nobody watches this show. I'm about to
Ah.
say
Okay.
it's on. It's like crazy how I even like found it. I have, I cut the cord a while ago, and so I don't have like cable television.
Mhm.
I have an antenna that gives me local channels, but then some. There are all kinds of other over-the-air channels that are out there.
Yeah.
One of which is called Start TV, which is like Start TV.
Huh. Shout out the Start
Shout
TV.
out to Start TV. Start TV has all kinds of old shows. They have newer shows, but none of them are like
Sure.
running right now. I guess I'm starting with my guilty pleasure, so fine.
Sure.
And I discovered like a long time ago there was a show called The Closer. Have you ever heard
Yes,
of
I
The
have.
Closer?
Yes, I have.
Doesn't
Okay,
sound
so
familiar.
I feel like I was like the only one that watched the show, even though it was a very popular show
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time. But for some reason, it just like there's something about it that felt very like I don't know if I could relate to the main character, but I really liked how she acted this. I like the storylines. I like the chemistry between like something like hit me about this show that was whatever. So I watched it.
Yeah.
It was on I forget on demand somewhere, and I watched it very sort of. This was like 10 years ago that I watched the whole show
Mhm.
and loved it. Then I find that it's on Start TV daily, and they just keep running through
In
the
order,
seasons
though?
in order.
Good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which would drive me insane, and I think that would be grounds for
Yeah.
not watching it
Yeah,
regularly.
yeah.
But I will tell you, when I finish work, and I typically finish work unless I'm working in an evening around 6 o'clock,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and I just turn my television on. I know it's on, and I just
Yeah.
have it on in the background, and I will watch, but I'll be doing other things. So it's
Mhm.
like it's that kind
But
of.
it's like good company.
Sure.
Do you know what I
very-
mean?
it's
Sometimes
really-
you just need company.
Yes, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yes,
but it's
that's a good way to
company
look at
that's
it.
like not invasive company.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
very like
Not
They
the
don't
kind
need
that needs
me
leave
you don't
to be
now.
need
involved.
I don't have to be involved. I just have it on in the background, and it's very soothing in a
Yeah.
way. So that's one thing that is like a go-to, if you will. Probably my favorite show, I have to say on a lot of levels, is also on Apple TV, which I hate to say because actually
That's your
two of my
go-to,
favorite
Apple
ones,
TV. Yeah.
is Ted Lasso. Have you ever
Oh,
heard of
Ted
Ted
I've heard a
Lasso?
lot of good
yes,
things.
I have heard the
Yeah.
same.
I have to say, this thing saved my mood through COVID, this
Mm.
show. And it was at the time, my husband is very into, my ex-husband is very into soccer
Mhm.
and turned me on to the sport. Like I didn't, I'm following World Cup much more than I would have before.
Yeah.
Very big Liverpool fan. I know a lot about it, whatever. So, we saw this show come up that's about soccer. I was like, all right, I'm like, I'll watch it with you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like a big deal for me, but
Mhm.
like it's about soccer. So let's watch this. And it started going, and very quickly he's like, this isn't about soccer at all. I'm like, no, it's not. And I love it. I was like,
Mhm.
I was hooked on this show. It's so, the writing is so awesome in my mind. It's so quick. If you have to watch it more than once because it moves so fast, like you're gonna miss something, and I love that about it. That
Yeah.
I got a couple of good watches out of each
Yeah.
season, and the arc of it was really good. And I think there was something that was so earnest about it,
Mhm.
and from a psychological standpoint, like from a human behavior standpoint, it just hit that perfect sweet spot between like sad or really like kind of climactic behavior or writing. Like you were on the edge of your seat a little bit at times. You were laughing your butt off at times.
Yeah.
You were like crying at times, and it hit me like something else. And it was such, I think, a needed thing during that time, also during COVID, because it started then. That it was just like it was pure escapism, but like rooted escapism, if you will. So I will always go back to that show and always just love that show on many levels. A close second there is Shrinking, which is also on Apple. Like I said, there are two shows now that I love on Apple. But Shrinking is, and as a therapist, I'm here to say that you don't do anything like as a therapist that you see on this show. Like we would never do
You're
that.
like, this is a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea, but
Don't do this.
But they
So to wrap it up,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about homework.
like
I
it.
love homework. My homework is going to be, while I was on vacation, I introduced this new character that I am so excited about developing.
Awesome.
Oskana. She is this little Russian woman that works at the senior home that Coralina works at right now in her before chapters or timeline. And this woman is running this like black market bakery out of her bathroom at the home.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I love this already.
I do too. Sounds
She's
like me.
so funny. She is.
That's a whole chapter.
I
I
absolutely
would've heard a
love
whole
her.
chapter.
I love
And I
that.
can't wait to like dive deeper into developing her story. So
Black Market Bakery, which
guys,
you had me
guys,
at that.
as I was writing it, I was like, this is good.
I
It's funny
love
'cause it's got
that.
like that prison element of like, they're not allowed to have probably like, hot things and sharp
That's exactly right.
objects and-
That's
Yeah.
why it's super hush hush. And Coralina like walks in on Oskana in the bathroom, and she's like, "What are you doing, lady?" And
That is
Oskana is
awesome.
just like, "Listen, little girl, like you're not gonna come in here and ruin up my business."
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good. So
I love this.
in the next 2 weeks, I do plan on giving Oskana some legs. So
That's great.
that's
I
what
love
I'm going
it.
to be doing. What are y'all doing?
Well,
ahead.
I know that I want to keep kind of going where I was with this character, Matrice, where she, we haven't been introduced to her yet in the story at the point we've been talking. I feel like she's a character that comes on very cold and quick, and I want to be able to launch this kind of reflection into her childhood that will be snippets throughout the story, because there is kind of this hidden plot line developing that, without kind of the context of like where this character's come from, I think might be a little muddy. So just kind of developing, there's going to be a huge contrast between what they were like as a kid versus what they were like in this story, which is at a very dark point. For a lot of these characters, there's a lot of bad things happening at this, in the beginning of the story. So just kind of trying to go back into the headspace from last chapter. The last chapter with this child actually ends in a very dreamlike state of them kind of picturing this experience both in a present state, but also in this like dreamlike fugue weird experience. And so I want to kind of like start the next chapter with that same feeling. and the audience can be like, okay, we're still in this weird world, but then it's going to drop us back into the reality of this kind of dystopian world where for the first time in the book, we're actually finding out what the inciting incident is potentially, what the disaster that has happened, that is displacing people, that is causing all this chaos in people's lives. So
Cool.
yeah, so it's working that and introducing everyone really to what the story is for these like 3 or 4 main characters I've been working on. So,
Very cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that'll be hard, but
Got it. You got
see what
this.
happens.
Way to
Yeah,
aim
yeah.
high there. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. How about you? Yeah.
So for me, per usual, my assignment looks a little different. But lately I've been thinking about my business as a whole, and kind of what I was saying before is everything I do, I want to kind of have it funnel through to choosing yourself, because that is the basis of better than being alone ?
Sure.
And always have to have that question mark. So Substack is becoming a very big focus for me, and so I have a couple of things that I would like to do between now and the next time we meet. Number one is, because Substack is so community oriented, I want to interact, not just like posts, but like comment on at least 20 other Substacks that are in the same kind of vein of what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I think about sort of like my process here, and I really I want to sit for a little while and really develop who is my like dream client, like who am I talking to when I'm doing all of this, and like what are their struggles and what is going on. And so I really want to develop that,
An audience profile.
Yeah.
profile. And so that's something that I think it's going to be very front and center this next couple of weeks, so that everything that I write, I can then connect to that.
Yeah, that's
person.
smart.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
Business practice.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's much more business related than
I do love that
writing
you're
related.
keeping us like a very grounded story in this too, beyond just like what is the thing, the help I want to give out, but there is coming back to what's the character, what's the story. I think that's also
Yeah.
very interesting
Yeah.
for
'cause-
all readers, really.
And it's interesting. It's also scary for me, because it's also like a big chunk of this book is my lived experience.
Yeah.
And yes, there's the professional clinical aspect of what I do and how I'm talking to people and what I know is happening behind the scenes based on what I know of, human behavior. But it's also about like, hey, I was that girl.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, it's also figuring out, like, I think about like, what would I have wanted when I was in the throes of my unhappy marriage, where I felt like I just was like, there was one day where I was like laying on the floor, and Mike and Luke, my stepson, came in, and I was like, they're like, what are we doing for dinner? I'm like, I can't care anymore. Like, I literally said those words, and I felt it. And so I was there. And so I've got to, I'm taking, what I experienced, but also thinking about what that person who picks up my book, say, in the long run, is going through. So
Yeah.
that's my job the next couple of weeks. I have
That's
an
great.
idea, but I really want to kind of flesh it out a little bit,
Well, that's also what we're here for too.
which I appreciate
Share
very much.
Share a draft.
Yeah.
Because
I love it.
I love a draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, you'll be able to see all the drafts on my Substack,
Yeah,
because
right.
yeah,
Fair.
it'll
Exactly.
be it's all that's the interesting thing. It was like that aha moment where I can like write this book in real time, kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is cool.
well, that's hopefully like what, as this progresses, we'll be doing too, is trying to get people inside the process with what we're doing with
Yes.
hopefully releasing short little previews of things and just kind of keeping people updated with our writing process. And then also, like, I would hope that we all can just hear from all other people's stories out there that they're writing too, because we would love to just kind of see what everyone else's
Be
process
awesome.
is, and keep this as an open invitation kind of for everyone
Yeah.
to
Love
discuss
that.
this.
Yeah.
But yeah, do we have anything else to say? I think we.
I mean, I have so much to say, but not enough time. So we got to go.
Yeah,
You gotta go.
Gotta
I
go.
think that kind of wraps it up for this
Wrap it
episode.
on up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.